Keeping up with changes in the AI space or new releases can feel like a lot. Sometimes it can feel like a full-time job because every day, every week, there's a new model, there's a new tool out there that's promising to deliver better results, breaking all the barriers of previous models. And to some extent, that's true. These models are far better. And it'd be a disservice to yourself to not be up to date with these changes because the whole purpose of AI is to drive efficiency. And if you're using older models that don't carry the same capabilities as the newer models, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. And this video is a monthly roundup of all the tools that I found super useful in September. Let's go. So the first model that we're going to talk about is Seedream 4.0. It's an image generation model that's been launched by ByteDance, the company behind TikTok. And it's very similar to, or a direct competitor to Nano Banana from Google, the one that was all the hype a few weeks ago. But how it's different is that it includes knowledge-based generation as well as offering you the same, if not better, reference consistency as well as complex reasoning. Now, the thing about Seedream is that it's able to produce high-definition images up to 4K resolution, which Nano Banana does not. Now, there's a number of different ways that you can use Seedream. I'm using it on fal.ai basically because it allows me to use multiple models at the same time, and then it also has API access. When you're on the Seedream 4.0 page, you'll notice that there's a few settings that you can change. You can change the size of the image, so you can choose one of these presets, or you can change the size according to your own dimension needs. You can choose the number of images you want, as well as provide a seed reference. Now, the seed reference works very similar to how it works on Midjourney, where if you've generated an image before or have an image that you want a very similar result to or a continuation of, you can just provide that image's seed reference over here and it'll do its job. Another very interesting option that you have in Seedream is you can enable or disable the safety checker when using it through the API. Not the platform, but when you turn the enable safety checker off, you have more freedom in what the image generator can generate for you. Now, I gave this a very simple prompt of a Toyota Yaris GR drifting on a winding mountain road in northern Pakistan, and it gave me this result. Very on point with the prompt. I think the taillights are a little bit different on the actual GR, but that's to be expected because it's only using the knowledge it has to produce the image. But other than that, the consistency of the image, the high definition, it's all there. This is a very, very good result. The next model that we're going to talk about is the Seedance 1.0 model, which is a video generation model, gives you the ability to produce videos from images as well as text. Again, a direct competitor to Google's VO3 model. But it actually achieves breakthroughs in semantic understanding and prompt following along with 1080p resolution and consistent reference consistency. It also supports multi-shot storytelling. Now, one thing to notice with this model is that it does not provide native audio like VO3 does, but I've never been a fan of that native audio anyway. Let's get to testing this out. The prompt that I gave this model is, again, a Toyota Yaris GR drifting through winding alpine roads, snow-capped peaks in the distance, cinematic atmosphere, captured from multiple angles. And the result it gave me, it's actually pretty good because one, the car is actually moving forward. A lot of these models with a single prompt, almost always the car is going to be moving in reverse while the background is moving forward. It's always wonky, but this is pretty damn great. The text is a little bit off in some places, but it did get some details really down to the T. For example, the GR emblem on the grill, it's there. So overall, I'm very impressed with this result. If you want to add audio, you can use tools like N8N to stitch audio on top of these by using certain APIs. But the overall video quality of this is spot on. One thing I forgot to add about the Seedance 1.0 model is that you can also set the duration limit of the video itself. This is especially useful if you're stitching audio onto the video as well, and most of the time you will be. So assume that you make an audio file before you generate the video. And the audio file is, let's say, 6 seconds. So the video that you want is also supposed to be 6 seconds or just a bit more. Without the duration limit that you provide to the model, it'll produce a random video. The audio might be shorter, it might be longer, and it'll never sit quite right. But this way, you can set the duration of the video to the same as the audio so that when they stitch together, it actually feels right. The next model that we're going to talk about is WAN 2.5, which is a video generation model, and it has a very interesting feature that it is audio native in the sense that you provide it with an audio and then it stitches that audio to the video it generates automatically. Let's drive this home with an example. So when you're using this on fal.ai, you can provide a prompt over here and then an audio URL right here. This audio can be a narration, it can be dialogue, and it'll automatically create the scene so that the audio feels native. To show you what I mean, I actually created this audio file separately on 11 Labs. And provided it with this prompt where a Transformers type robot is supposed to say these words. Let's check out the result.
You will not escape the wrath of the Dark Knights.
So it did nail the audio. Probably some more prompting needed to fix some of the very obvious AI stuff like the sparks in the background, the smoke. Not a fan of the overall texture. It looks very fake-ish, very AI, but nothing that you can't fix with some prompting. This is the one that I'm really excited about. Kimi just launched K2, its new open agentic intelligence model, and the benchmarks that is provided on its page actually show it far exceeding other models like Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini in a lot of regards. So with coding, it's very much on par with Anthropic's Claude, which has been the long-standing king of coding. And it's exceeding other models in a lot of the other benchmarks as well. The one thing that I love about Kimi is, when you're using it on the Kimi.com platform, it has a very similar to ChatGPT platform. But that aside, it has some pretty interesting features. So it has this OK Computer feature, which is a direct replacement to OpenAI's agent, and it works really well. So I gave it this prompt for creating a web. This was my prompt. Create a presentation on climate change in Pakistan. That's the only input that I gave it. And the result that it gave me was pretty damn interesting. Let's just open the result. And it gave me these slides by itself in under 6, 7 minutes. The first slide, the second image needs some fixing. But the great thing about this is that once the whole thing has been created, you can actually change whatever you need to change inside each of these elements. They're all clickable. And it went ahead and did the research itself, created the images itself. It added all these fonts, all these images. It did a pretty damn good job. Now, when I give this same prompt to ChatGPT's agent, it takes at least an hour to give me one slide. But this gave me all of this in under 10 minutes. Now, when you're using the free Kimi 2, there are some limitations which are to be expected. So with OK Computer, I've used 1 out of my 3 free sessions. For research, you have 1 session for free per month. But if you go to the upgrade option, there's a couple of options that you have to upgrade. So with each, you increase the amount of quotas you get. And for a limited time, they're also giving away API credits equal to the same value of your monthly package. So for example, if you go with the $19 a month package, you get $19 in free API credits. And if you go with the $199 a month package, you get $199 worth of API credits. So essentially, this is still free because you get those API credits in return for the monthly fees that you pay. That's all I had for you today. If you found any sort of value in this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.